Bonjour and welcome to this week's French lesson with me, Jennifer, your French teacher in the south of France. Comment ça va? Everybody doing well today? I hope so. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes le 5 janvier 2015 already. The New Year's beginning. It's a good time to make some resolutions happen, and if your resolution is to start learning French this year, then you've come to the right place. I'm here for you, putting out new videos every single week. And so back in December, I started, before the holidays hit and I had to take a little break, I started a power verb series. And so I'm putting the link to that video down at the bottom of the screen. Maybe you're not sure what power verbs mean. Well, I used to work with this guy, a Spanish teacher back in St. Louis, and he always talked about power verbs. And I didn't really know what he was talking about. So he taught me this. He said power verbs are those verbs that you can use to start speaking right away, to make it easy. And he told me, I learn lessons all the time from good teachers. He told me that one of the first things he teaches first-year students, instead of learning all of the bonjour, comment ça va, which is good stuff, it's important, but what people really want to do so that they can feel motivated, like they're making progress, they really want to start speaking and saying things of importance. So he said the first thing he does is he teaches them power verbs. All right, power verbs. In French, there are 4 of them that I would like to talk to you about. The one I talked about last time in December was the verb aller, and today it's the verb vouloir. Basically, a power verb is a verb that you can use either in we're going to talk about the present tense, the imperfect, and the passé composé, because those are 3 relatively beginner level tenses. You can use that verb in that tense and just follow it up with an infinitive, and you can say something like, for example, with the verb vouloir, that means to want, you can say something like, I want to ski, right? I'm just saying it in English now, but the I want, je veux, to ski, skier is the infinitive, and now you know how to say I want to ski. Je veux skier. If you want to make it negative, you just throw in the negation. You want to put it in the past? Well, fine, do that. That's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So that was just a little introduction. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about power verbs. So today, the verb is vouloir. So the verb vouloir means to want. Let's just go through the way I'm going to set this up in case you just need to know that before we get into the lesson. I'm going to give you the present tense, an example in the present tense for each of the subject pronouns. We'll start with je, then tu, il, elle, on, nous, vous, il, and elle. I'm going to give you an example in the present tense. Then I'm going to put that example in the present tense with negation. I'm going to then put the same example in the imperfect, and then I'm going to do the imperfect with negation. And finally, lastly, I'm going to give you the same example, but in the passé composé, and then the passé composé with negation. Sometimes little things will come up in the examples that I give you, like indirect object pronouns, for example. And when that happens, what I'll do is I'll put a link down either at the bottom or at the top of the screen to another video. For example, if you say, well, gosh, why is that word there? I'm not sure I understand. You can click on the other video and go watch that lesson when you get a chance. All right, here we go. So the first example, we'll start with je. Je veux apprendre l'italien. And that's true for me. Je veux apprendre l'italien. So je veux is the present tense. I want. Apprendre, to learn italien, right? If we want to make that negative, you just put ne pas around the verb. Present tense is super simple. Je ne veux pas apprendre l'italien, which is not true for me because I think it's a beautiful language. Je ne veux pas apprendre l'italien. Now, if we want to put that in the imperfect, so l'imparfait, remember the imperfect is the descriptive past. I'm starting with the imperfect and not the passé composé with this particular verb because honestly, you don't even have to worry so much about learning it in passé composé. I mean, if I were your teacher and I were giving you a grade and you were about to get a quiz or something like that, I would make you learn it. But honestly, between you and me, now that I'm not in that kind of setting anymore and I'm just trying to teach you real French that's used all the time, the verb vouloir is hardly ever used in the passé composé, right? It's mostly used in the imperfect. So when you want to say, I wanted, or he wanted, she wanted, all of that is imperfect. So let's do it. Je voulais apprendre l'italien. I wanted to learn Italian. Je ne voulais pas apprendre l'italien. Got it? Now, I'm going to go on and tell you what it is in the passé composé. When you use the verb vouloir in the passé composé, it doesn't mean wanted. It means, if you're using it the affirmative way, it means tried to. So, for example, if I said, j'ai voulu apprendre l'italien, it would mean I wanted, or no, doesn't mean I wanted. It means I tried to learn Italian. Je n'ai pas voulu apprendre l'italien. Now get this, it means something different. Now, when you use passé composé with negation, it means refused. Je n'ai pas voulu apprendre l'italien. I refused to learn Italian. You see? All right, let's go on to tu. So in the present tense, tu veux faire le dîner avec moi? Tu veux faire le dîner avec moi? Do you want to make dinner with me? Tu ne veux pas faire le dîner avec moi? Pourquoi? All right, now if we want to put it in the imperfect, tu voulais faire le dîner avec moi. You wanted to make dinner with me. Tu ne voulais pas faire le dîner avec moi. You didn't want to make dinner with me. Tu as voulu faire le dîner avec moi. You tried to make dinner with me. Tu n'as pas voulu faire le dîner avec moi. You refused to make dinner with me. I guess that passé composé could be useful in certain situations. All right, so let's go with the il, elle, on. So this time I'm going to choose il. Il veut étudier en France. He wants to study in France. You see how simple that is? Il ne veut pas étudier en France. He doesn't want to study in French. Il voulait étudier en France. He wanted to study in France. Il ne voulait pas étudier en France. He didn't want to study in France. Now we'll do the passé composé. Il a voulu étudier en France. He tried to study in France. Il n'a pas voulu étudier en France. He refused to study in France. Can you imagine that? Who would do that? Nobody would do that. All right, let's go on to the nous form. Nous voulons vous offrir un cadeau. Nous voulons vous offrir un cadeau. It means we want to offer you a gift. Notice that in French, instead of using the verb donner un cadeau, to give a gift like we do in English, they often say offrir un cadeau. Now, who did we want to offer, or who did we want to give a gift to? That's why the vous is there. That vous is the receiver of the action, so that makes it an indirect object pronoun. And if you need to see a video lesson on that, I'm putting the link up there for you. So, nous voulons vous offrir un cadeau. Nous ne voulons pas vous offrir un cadeau. So remember with pronouns, just a little side note here. With pronouns, when you have two verbs in a sentence and the second one's an infinitive, your pronoun, no matter what kind of pronoun it is going to come right before that infinitive. In the imperfect, nous voulions vous offrir un cadeau. We wanted to give you a gift. Nous ne voulions pas vous offrir un cadeau. We didn't want to give you a gift. And in the passé composé, nous avons voulu vous offrir un cadeau. We tried to give you a gift. And then in the negation, with negation, in the passé composé, nous n'avons pas voulu vous offrir de cadeau. All right, so that means we refused to give you a gift. Méchant. All right, next one, vous. Vous voulez leur écrire une lettre? Vous voulez leur écrire une lettre. So you want to write them a letter. The leur is also an indirect object pronoun. I wanted to give you 2 examples with that so that when you go back and look at the indirect object pronoun lesson, you'll have a few more examples. All right, so vous voulez leur écrire une lettre. Vous ne voulez pas leur écrire de lettre. You don't want to offer them, or I'm sorry, you don't want to write them a letter. In the imperfect, vous vouliez leur écrire une lettre. You wanted to write them a letter. Vous ne vouliez pas leur écrire de lettre. You didn't want to write them a letter. And finally, in the passé composé, vous avez voulu leur écrire une lettre. So you tried to write them a letter. And with negation, vous n'avez pas voulu leur écrire de lettre. You refused to write them a letter. I hope this is helpful to you. There's a lot of examples. And the last one I'm going to give you is the ils plural. Ils veulent prendre des cours de dessin. They want to take drawing lessons. Ils veulent prendre des cours de dessin. Ils ne veulent pas prendre de cours de dessin. They don't want to take drawing lessons. And in the imperfect, they wanted to take drawing lessons. Ils voulaient prendre des cours de dessin. Or they didn't want to take drawing lessons. Ils ne voulaient pas prendre de cours de dessin. And the last example I'm going to give you today with this power verb vouloir is in the passé composé, third person plural form. Let's go. Ils ont voulu prendre des cours de dessin. They tried to take drawing lessons. And with the negation, ils n'ont pas voulu prendre de cours de dessin. They refused to take drawing lessons. All right, so I hope, again, I'll tell you, I really hope that this lesson has been helpful to you. Start using it. Now, I've given you the power verb lesson using aller, and I've given you the power verb lesson using vouloir. The next one is going to be using the verb pouvoir, right? And I really like that one because pouvoir means to be able to, and pouvoir as a noun means power. Isn't that cool? All right, everybody. So, bonne semaine. I hope you all have an excellent week, and let me know your questions, comments. Write your examples down in the comments so that everyone can see them. And don't worry if you think that it's not perfect or you're afraid you made a mistake. That's what we're here for. Everybody's here because we're working on learning French together. Merci beaucoup. Visit the website if you want to take some Skype lessons with me, if you're interested in finding out what all of that's all about. So, all right, everyone. See you later. À bientôt. Ciao.